Being prepared. Say hi, Joey Only.
Joey Only.
I'm Frankie Down. You're listening to the Round 2 Weather Report every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Joey Only's a really nice guy. He fights fires in British Columbia. He owns his podcast. He runs podcasts every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Joey Only is a really nice guy. He fights fires. He runs his podcast, Comedian Plus Meteorology, Comedian Plus Meteorology Weather Report, Weather 2. I'm on his radio stations, CFUR 88.7 FM, Prince George, CKUW 95.9 FM in CFBX 92.5 FM in Kamloops, British Columbia. I'm on Shaw TV, with Joey Only shows on Shaw TV.
Well, whether it's hot, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather we got. Wait a minute. Well, whether it's cold, whether it's hot, Frankie's got the weather or not. There it is.
Good morning, Prince George. Good afternoon, Winnipeg. Hello, Kamloops. Potentially, hello, Victoria, and anywhere else. Hello, YouTube world. I'm Joey Only, the Caribou Weather Dude up here in Wells, British Columbia. You are tuned in to the Comediological Report. Comedy plus meteorology equals Comediology. It's our show about how much the weather sucks in Canada. And, well, actually, it's suddenly not looking quite so bad. Well, I mean, I still have 18 feet of snow outside here in Wells, British Columbia, but I chose to live in the mountains, so I get that. Some of you are experiencing really nice weather already in British Columbia. Maybe other parts of Canada, not so much. I'm here with my panel of meteorologists. So Frankie's a little bit late this week, but that's okay because we have special guests in. This is the CHASER Comediological Report episode, and it's celebrating the fact that now Brandon Houck and I can finally talk out loud about the fact that he's going to be a big guest panelist at the coming CHASERCon in Olds, Alberta. That's when storm chasers of all sorts are going to get together and talk about storms and things like that. So here on the panel tonight, we have esteemed organizer of such event, Tracey Dyck. We have Northern Lights expert, who's also part of the community of scientists for NASA. His name's Chris Ratzlaff. The guy knows everything about Northern Lights. It's going to be really fun. Of course, Brandon Houck, as always, and Imogen Cookie Bailey, our associate producers, back in, talk to us from Victoria. And anytime now, Frankie, who's unusually late, I hope the daylight savings time hasn't tricked him. It's quite possible. There he is, everybody. Frankie McDonald.
Frankie! The weatherman.
Frankie McDonald.
I'm doing great.
3 minutes late. Is everything okay?
Things are great.
Okay. Everybody, it's Frankie McDonald.
Frankie! The weatherman.
How you doing so far?
I'm doing great so far.
And what's going on in the world this week, Frankie? How was that crazy storm you just had in Sydney, Nova Scotia?
It's really, really, really bad.
Okay.
Frankie is unusually quiet today. Frankie, is everything okay? Oh, Frankie's not okay.
Okay,
Wow.
something's up with the Frankie world. So we got Tracey Dyck, Chris Ratzlaff. We'll start with Tracey because she's kind of taking the reins on CHASERCon this year. Tracey Dyck, welcome to the Comediological Report.
We are planning a CHASERCon in Olds, Alberta for April 8th. We hope that anybody who has any even remote interest in severe weather, including winter weather, will attend the event. There'll be lots of familiar faces as well as new faces. We're really looking forward to it.
It's going to be a fantastic event, I'm sure, this year. Again, I like how you're holding it.
Somebody tried to call me earlier. There's a lot of people trying to call me.
Oh, those people. Those teenagers and trolls, Frankie.
There's a lot of trolls and haters out there and clowns trying to, they make each other, like especially those teenagers and things like this.
Tell me about the storm this week, Frankie.
It brought 40 centimeters of snow up in Cape Breton Highlands National Park. Sydney, Nova Scotia only had 7 to 8 centimeters or so. Did you hear about this? They had a volcano in Indonesia. This is Frankie McDonald, my own TV station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Mount Merapi just erupted in Indonesia. It's a volcano a couple of days ago, and a volcanic ash just blew up in the sky in Indonesia. I want everyone in Indonesia to be extra prepared. Wear your masks so that don't breathe in the volcanic ash because it's going to bring a lot of volcanic ash up in the sky. And if you're flying the airplane in any aircraft, avoid Java, Indonesia, Mount Merapi in Indonesia. I want every single person to stay away from volcanic lava and things like this because volcanoes going to be really bad in Indonesia, including Mount Merapi is going to bring really bad volcano in Indonesia. It's going to continue to erupt. I want everyone in Indonesia to be extra prepared because volcano is going to be very bad in Indonesia. If you fly in the airplane around their area, avoid the volcano because Mount Merapi just erupted. And it's going to bring a lot of volcanic ash up in the sky, and volcanic ash is going to continue to spoot the ash up in the sky. There'll be a lot of volcanic ash falling from the sky as well. Make sure to stay away from the volcano. Don't go near the volcano for people living near Mount Merapi, Indonesia. I want every single person around those areas, including Java, Indonesia, to be extra prepared because the volcanic ash can affect airplane engines, helicopter engines, and aircraft and engines as well, including cargo planes and things like this. If you're flying around near those areas, avoid the area because the volcanic ash is up in the sky. It's going to bring a lot of volcanic ash up in the sky because volcano erupted in Mount Merapi, Indonesia. If you have anybody living in near those areas in Indonesia, be prepared for volcano. Be safe. Don't get caught on volcano. Be safe. It was really bad. Snow and volcanic ash up in the sky. It was so bad there. It's really dangerous volcano. Indonesia, including Jakarta, Indonesia, and Java, Indonesia volcano is really, really bad. They had an earthquake off the coast of New Zealand. If they're going to bring some rain in New York City later on in the week and things like this. It's going to. They had a flood in the Los Angeles area. It's cold outside in Sydney, Nova Scotia right now. It's cool outside in Vancouver, British Columbia as well.
Who's got the worst weather in the world?
There's a big polar vortex all across North America, Canada, and U.S. next week. There's a big giant storm going to develop later next week in eastern United States and central U.S.
Hey, Frankie, how much lava came out of the volcano in Indonesia?
A lot of lava so far. It's been cold outside in UK and things like this. And lots of storms coming off the coast of Japan lately. And fall starts on March 20th in New Zealand. Spring starts on March 20th in Canada.
Thank you, Frankie.
The sun's direct rays will be aiming at the equator on March 20th. 12-hour daylight, 12-hour darkness all over the world. And did you hear about this? They'll be finishing up skiing season in Canada soon for most places. But once again, in the month of April, there'll be gradual transition from winter to summer.
Frankie, have you met our special guest tonight, Chris Ratzlaff?
Yeah.
Have you met Tracey Dyck before?
Not yet. Hi, Chris. Hi, Tracey.
Hi, Frankie.
I'm doing great so far. I'm Frank Down. I'm doing great so far. I'm the guy that does weather reports, dancing videos in my comedy videos on my YouTube channel. My most viewed video ever on my YouTube channel is Guy Tries to Eat 50 hot dogs at once. Okay, guys. I'm going to do a video about the guy eating 50 hot dogs at once.
All right, Frankie, I got a question, and you know this is going to involve a shark. Now, if you threw an extra medium-sized shark into a volcano, how long would it take to cook it?
That means not that long.
Would it be minutes or seconds?
Seconds.
Very cool. And after a volcano goes off, like the one in Indonesia, how does that affect the weather for the next month in that area?
That's going to affect the whole world, even South America, North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, even Antarctica.
Yeah, if enough of that ash gets high enough into the atmosphere, that is possible. Certainly that's happened before with mountains like Mount Tambora. Any other questions for Frankie McDonald this week? What other YouTube videos have you made this week, Frankie?
This is Frankie McDonald, my own team station live in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Severe thunderstorms headed towards Buenos Aires, Argentina on Wednesday, March 15, 2023. It's going to bring up to 30 plus millimeters of rain. It's going to bring chain lightning, very loud thunder. It's going to bring heavy downpours, including rest of northern Argentina, including Buenos Aires. It's going to bring a lot of rain. It's going to bring some damaging winds and strong winds and large hail possible. There'll be tornadoes possible in northern Argentina. There'll be a lot of chain lightning, very loud thunder. Winds are going to be really strong. It's going to cause wind-driven rain and sideways rain. There'll be lots of thunder and lightning going on in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I want everyone in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and surrounding areas to be extra prepared. Be prepared! The video I did is Argentina got severe thunderstorms on Wednesday and Thursday. Buenos Aires, Argentina had severe thunderstorms, brought a chain lightning, very loud thunder, tornadoes in northern tip of Argentina. And Buenos Aires, Argentina, lots of rain and large hail in some places, possible tornadoes in some places in Argentina, northern Argentina this week.
What about Texas today, Frankie?
It's been ready. It's going to get really, really cold in Texas because the cold front's going through Texas because the polar vortex will drag all the cold air down to Texas as well.
Seemed like there was some pretty good storm activity down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I didn't see if anything actually developed there or not.
There was a pretty big funnel, but
All tornadoes that can bring and severe thunderstorms to get light rain, moderate rain, heavy rain, small hail, large hail, tornado, then dry slot. That's the diagram of severe thunderstorms.
Excellent. What's going on in Europe this week, Frankie?
All across is starting to get warm gradually over New York too. And over in Eastern Europe, it's still pretty cold out there right now. They had some light snow and things like this and flurries in Moscow and those places. And it's still gradually getting warmer. In Siberia, weather is gradually getting warmer bit by bit. Once again, sometime in April, Siberia will be above freezing again.
And what about in outer space, Frank?
Oh my God, the aliens are here!
What's that noise?
Sounds like a flying saucer is coming. There's dozens of aliens coming from planet Sedna, Eris, Ceres, and Quar. And lots of comets and asteroids up in the sky. Sun shooting more flares. Shooting more flares from the sun and things like this. That could disrupt signal states like this.
And that leads me to my next question, and that goes to Chris Ratzlaff. Welcome to the show. Chris, talk to us about the solar flares. It's kind of quiet right now, but it's been very active.
It's quiet at the moment, but it's been getting more and more active over the last year or two. We're coming up on solar maximum in the next probably 3 years, and we should see more solar flares as that approaches.
What was it, February 24th or 26th, something like that? That was quite a show everywhere.
Yeah, at the end of February. What did it get up to? Like KP7, I think, was the strength of the northern lights of the Aurora. You're going to basically see Aurora down to the northern U.S. with that kind of activity. So it was really, really good. A lot of Aurora all night long. People taking pictures across Alberta, across Canada.
I got some good ones, some good video before the snow started that night, which kind of ruined things for me. Yeah.
Snow and Aurora is never a good thing.
Talk to me about your lifelong journey to get to this point where now you're a community, part of the community science for NASA. Just explain to everybody what this means and how you got to that.
Being someone who always watched clouds, for sure, always took photographs, but never really caught the interest, never really caught the bug until I saw a tornado, tiny little tornado from my backyard in Airdrie. And at that point, I realized that you can actually see that kind of weather in Alberta. You don't have to go down to the US. You don't have to go down to Tornado Alley to chase really cool storms. At that point, I started to try to figure out how I can figure out when to see the storms more often. Then you get into the winter and you don't have storms, and you look for something else to do. And Northern Lights is similar for me. Obviously, it's not quite the adrenaline rush of chasing a thunderstorm, but there are the forecasting, the predicting, trying to know when and where to be to see the Northern Lights. That is very addictive for me as well. Being part of the Alberta Aurora Chasers, where we lead we're a community of people that are looking for the Aurora across Alberta. Today we have almost 200,000 members, and that's been growing over the last couple of years. Spiked during COVID.
A couple few.
It's a couple few, but being part of that community, we had a lot of people watching the Aurora over Alberta, and because of our position, we caught the interest of a few teams at NASA. We collaborated on a few research projects, co-authored a paper on the Aurora phenomena known as Steve, and it just kind of kept on steamrolling from there.
So that's encouraging to people who might be watching this that are part of Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers, and that's where this all grew out of. So you're involved with CHASERCon, and so I'm going to kind of open the door for you and Tracey to talk about CHASERCon for a few minutes, and then we'll get to Brandon shortly thereafter.
We decided this year, after I think, what is it, a 3 or 4 year hiatus because of COVID, that we decided we wanted to actually make the event happen. So we planned it for a kind of a more of a rural location, which is very close to what is referred to as Hale Alley, which is Airdrie. So we figured what a better place to host it. We often go and eat dinner at the Boston Pizza in Olds after a chase because it's kind of a central location. So we planned it for the Pomeroy on April 8th. We have lots of amazing guests and guest speakers and panel members, including on our actual media panel. We have Ricky Forbes, David Spence, Kyle Britton, and Brandon, as you all know and love. We have David Spence presenting for us. Jenny Hagan from Saskatchewan is actually going to present for us too. She's going to more focus on winter chasing because she's been doing a lot of that, and not a lot of actual Alberta chasers chase snow, me included. I have no interest in being cold, which is probably why I don't like the Aurora either. I love them, I just don't like chasing them.
I don't have to chase snow, it comes right here.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not as bad as you, but we definitely have snow here, so I really don't. I can just sit with my cup of tea and watch my snow globes in the window. So she's going to focus on that, which is really, really cool. Then we have a chaser panel that's made up of Kyle Hetherington. He is from Calgary. Beth Allen, Tom Samantha, Shannon Bolesky, Braden Merceau. At the moment, we have maybe one other guest that will be speaking and on a panel, but that's kind of that's still up in the air. We're working on that one. It's a pretty big one, so I hope that it goes through. And then we have Mike Scantlin from Oklahoma is coming up. He flies drones into tornadoes all the time. He's chased with Reed Timmer, Sean Schofer. He's been in the Tornado Chasers TV series. So he's just a really good friend of mine, fantastic person. And then after everybody's presented and we've done all the panels, we're actually going to do our show and tell on the Saturday night, which people can then send in their photos from 2019 to 2022. And we will actually present them and go through them and let them tell us a little story behind them if they have a story. That's actually one of my favorite parts. It's going to be part of our social kind of gathering, and there'll be a cash bar. Plus the hotel is offering a discounted rate for anybody attending the conference. So it's going to be a pretty epic event, I think. I'm very excited. Epic. Pretty stoked.
Nice. Yeah. We're gonna talk to both of you a lot more this show. So please stay with us. We're really stoked on having you. It's the Chaser Con Comediological Report, Brandon. And people like you are going to be there on a stage.
On a stage, yes. I don't know how big the stage is, but but a stage nonetheless. Yes.
Thankfully, just big enough for you.
That's right.
Bigger than a radio booth.
That'd be because I'm on the radio right now, and I tend to get sexier by the time I go on the air. So that's how it works here. Oh yeah. Yeah, stick me in the radio booth. That'll be good there. Yeah.
The Brandon Houck Report.
Oh, hi. This is the Brandon Houck Report. And this week on the report, we talk about a snownado in the UK. Cyclone Freddy finally dying over Mozambique. Yes, Cyclone Freddy. It pretty much lasted for over a month. And it finally died. One of the longest cyclones on record there. And also, we go to California. They've been having a tough time over the last month with significant amount of snow. Rain, flooding has been a big concern over this past week as well, and that will continue to be the case until all of this snow begins to melt here. And a man, 81 years old, was not prepared for the weather, and he drove his car into a snowbank and had to survive a week on candy and a croissant before rescuers were able to get him by helicopter. So that was in California. Meanwhile, in Alaska, hikers climbed up a mountain and they drew something a little inappropriate on the top of the mountain. Once they got back down from that mountain, people from a hotel resort were able to view what was on that mountain. And, well, your resort officials were not happy with the situation there. So they went up by helicopter and they erased the image on the side of the mountain. Anyways, we go to another hotel situation in Japan where they only clean their swimming pool twice a year. So I would not recommend jumping into that swimming pool. No. And also, rapper Common turned 51 this week, and he celebrated with his friends Ordinary and Typical. And that's the Brandon Houck Report.
The Brandon Houck Report.
So yeah, you're speaking of radio booths. You were on 1,400 radio stations today.
Yeah.
You were sometimes with phones in one hand, talking on one, and dialing with your foot on the other. And what happened?
Well, apparently we had some people who were away who got sick today. So I'm pretty much last man standing here in the province. So somebody has to put on a show here in Drumheller, Brooks, and Blairmore. And then I was in Winnipeg today too. So, well, I was not in Winnipeg, but my voice was there. Yeah.
Right. How sick do you have to be for radio to not go to work? I mean, come on, you just sit there and talk. How sick do you have to be to not go on the radio?
And as you see, it is now snowing. Here we are. Snow is starting to intensify here. We've got some reduced visibility already. Not too bad, but road conditions are going to continue to deteriorate as we go through the evening hours. So give yourself extra space, extra time if you're traveling this evening, and probably better off to wait until Saturday until the conditions improve. For that matter, especially in the southeastern corner of the province where we've got a little more blowing and drifting going on. So we don't have as much wind here, but still we're dealing with that snow coming down quite rapidly here, and we are anticipating close to 10 centimeters of snow by the time this event winds down later tonight. So we'll be monitoring these conditions very closely, and the conditions will also continue to deteriorate across southern portions of Saskatchewan tonight, as well as blizzard conditions expected to ramp up. So stay tuned for further updates. We will give you another update in a couple of hours as these very snowy conditions persist here in the Brooks area.
YouTube video watchers, you get to hear that one. So what do you got for weather this week, Brad? It's nice outside all of a sudden, at least for here in western part of Canada. And
yeah,
after all that misery that, we kind of got sideswiped a little bit by the atmospheric river, but not really hit right in the head.
Yeah, it's been, we've had a couple pretty nasty, we had that part of the atmospheric river out of California last Friday there. That was quite a wild event there with 13 centimeters of snow here in the Brooks area, and more so southeastern Alberta. And then that became quite a blizzard across Saskatchewan. I know, I believe Jenny Hagen in Saskatchewan chased that one, that's for sure. So that was in right across southern parts of the province there. And then it moved off into Manitoba, and they've also had issues with blowing snow the last number of days as well, closing down the, what do we call that? I forget the name of that road around Winnipeg. But anyways, we'll figure that out later. So that's all highways around Winnipeg.
Main Street.
There you go. Main Street. That's right. Something like that. So that's Trans-Canada Highway. Right through Portage, like right through Winnipeg there. So that was this week as well. And then we had this, that was from that same snow squall we had go through Monday morning. That was quite a little snow squall that snarled the morning commute on Monday there. And then now, the weather, we've got high pressure locked into place through the weekend into early next week. We're going to be dealing with nothing but sunshine, giggles, fog, and all depending on where you are in the prairies. So the eastern prairie is probably going to remain on the cold side through the weekend here. So they won't be warming up for the foreseeable future until maybe April, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Meanwhile, we're going to warm up here in Alberta with daytime highs pushing near 10 degrees for the weekend, especially in the Lethbridge area, I'd say. And then we'll see that easterly flow kick back in next week. So that drops the temperatures right back down again. So that's about it. And there could be some fog issues. And there might be some chances of snow next week, but nothing too significant. So nothing but boring weather under high pressures. All we're going to see all next week here. A couple of big players, actually. Carson Kuhlman's got announced to be on the Columbus Blue Jackets a couple of weeks ago. So we've got another Brooks Bandit going to be in the NHL here. So that's pretty big news.
That is big news. So good news also for Prince George this week coming up. Look at it. It's highs of 7 degrees Sunday, 5 degrees and cloudy on Monday, but 9 degrees on Tuesday, 10 on Wednesday. It's still going to be below zero some at nighttime, but hey, we are really coming into a more spring-like pattern. It's a slow crawling, creeping one, and it's not maybe the one you wanted, but it's not atmospheric river slamming us. It's not polar vortex owning us. It's pretty good, actually. Imogen, how is Victoria, British Columbia this week?
Another week of paradise. High of 12 tomorrow, low of 3 tonight, and then everything in between. Nothing but blue skies, a little bit of scattered clouds once in a while, you know, when the weather's being extra moody, extra medium on the moody side. But other than that, it's just mild, mild, mild. Perfect for a seniors community, because when your bones hurt, temperate weather is nice. Keeps things nice and even. So that is the upside to it. Hey,
dry weather is so much better for you. I don't know.
My arthritis is comfortable here. I'm good with it. It gets boring. I'd love to see a nice tornado just go ripping through this place, just make it exciting and just like throw trailers and sharks all over the place, yank a bunch of seashells out of the ground, whip them like ninja stars across the city. It'd spice things up. It'd be interesting. Flaming hail, a firestorm out of the sky, lightning blowing things to bits. But no, it's blue skies and blue ocean as far as the eye can see, and beautiful forested mountains to hike through, and clear streams full of fish. And
say hi, Joey only. Say hi, Joey only.
Joey only. Yeah.
I'm Frankie Down. You're listening to me around the report every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. It's on his YouTube channel, Caribou Weather Dude, Comedian plus Meteorology. Joey only has his podcast every Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Joey only fights fires in Wells, British Columbia. I'm on his podcast. It's on the radio stations CFUR 88.7 FM, CKUW and 95.9 FM in Winnipeg, Manitoba, CFBX 2.5 FM in Kamloops, British Columbia. Is on Shaw Cable TV across Canada, Shaw Spotlight TV across Canada as well. Joey only is a really nice guy. He fights fires in British Columbia. Best of luck to you.
All right, weather update. It is clear. It's nighttime. Very clear, which is quite nice. So I'm out, hanging out with one of my favorite little dogs. And this is Mezzy. Mezzy was in a video with me that actually recently went viral, which is kind of cool. But he's one of my favorite little puppies to hang out with. And we're going to his favorite dog park. Perfect dog weather, puppy approved. Clear skies, virtually no clouds, little bit of moonlight, the end. Perfect time to hang out with a dog. Right, buddy? Are you a good boy? Yes, you're a good boy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you enjoyed 5 seconds of ocean calm. I am Imogen Cookie Daly on icy tropical Vancouver Island. I'm on one of our many stony, rocky, driftwood-infested beaches, which are absolutely delightful on a day like this. Blue skies, scattered clouds, and ocean as far as the eye can see. You're watching the Comedeorological Report on Shaw Spotlight. Over to you, Joey and Frankie.
I'll say hi to meteorologist Brandon Hope. Say hi, Brandon Hope. What? Brandon Hope is the weatherman in Broken, Alberta. He's a really nice guy. He lives in Broken, Alberta. I have a lot of fans in Broken, Alberta too. Brandon Hope is a really nice guy. He's part of the Joey Only Show every Thursday night. Brandon Hope is a really nice guy. Say hi, Brandon Hope. Hi, Brandon Hope.
Well, here we have it. 13 centimeters of snow. Oh, yes. That is our total for this event here in Brooks in the County of Dual. And the cleanup is underway for some of us here. after all that snow last night. We had a little bit of wind after midnight, so some of it did do some drifting around here. Yes, even worse conditions across Saskatchewan. Still multiple highways have been shut down. And not only that, but we also have blizzard conditions, especially in the Estevan, Saskatchewan area. They're on like hour 5 of a blizzard right now. So with winds clocking over 80 kilometers an hour. So that continues on into southwestern Manitoba as the storm continues to move its way towards the east. But what a fun 24 hours it has been. Now the sky is cleared up, sun is out, and the digging out begins.
Say hi, Joey only.
Hi, Joey Holy.
Just to revisit your earlier question about how long would it take a shark to cook in a volcano, I don't think it's a matter of how long would it take to cook. It's more how long would it take to vaporize.
Well, I think I'm also more interested in how long it would take to eat the cooked shark. I mean, if it's an
And a volcano is not where you want to cook it, especially toxic gases. I mean, you could, by the time you get close enough to retrieve whatever cooked shark you have, you're probably going to die from inhaling really bad things that you're not supposed to breathe.
Because the question I actually have is the rate of lava flow down the side of a volcano, such as the magnitude of what hit Indonesia recently. How would the difference in gravity on Mars affect the rate of lava flowing down the side of a mountain? Would it be faster? Would it be slower? Would it just sort of float around a little bit? These are questions that I want to know. How would different gravity affect a volcano going off? I do not have this information. And
Does anybody on the panel have information about the gravitational effects of volcanism on other worlds? I would think that Chris Ratzlaff might be the best person to ask, because he talks to people from NASA quite frequently.
Can we phone an astronaut and ask? Does anyone have Chris Hadfield's number?
You can't phone an astronaut. They can't get the phone past the...
Joey froze and left. He has never frozen on camera before. Joey is a seasoned performer, so I'm going to blame technical problems because he does not freeze. Joey knows what he's doing.
Oh boy.
So what do you do in this kind of scenario? Do you hand it over to Frankie?
Well, we just wait for Joey to show up again. Oh, there he is, sideways.
I have no idea what happened there. I was in the middle of saying something funny and I had my hand like this, and then suddenly I was just frozen, and it's like I frozen right before the punchline, and now I can't even remember what the punchline. I don't even remember what we were even talking about. I would love to hear some of your great chasing stories. This is the second half of the Comedeorological Report. This is the part where we talk.
Actually, I have a question. When did ChaserCon start, and what was the turnout like at the first one versus the projected turnout for this one?
First one was 2015 in Regina.
Oh yeah, Regina.
And I think we had probably 40 people show up to that one.
Okay.
So it was modest. It was the very first one. We had Regina's also not. I mean, Regina is like right in the middle of where all the prairie storm chasers are, right? So you got Manitoba and Alberta are equally distant from Regina. So it seemed like a great place to get everyone to go. Turned out that we had about, I think, 25 people coming from Alberta and about 15 from Manitoba and maybe 3 or 4 from Saskatchewan. So it was pretty quiet compared to what we were expecting. The next year we had it in Edmonton, and we had over 100 people attending in Edmonton. So we over more than doubled in size. Edmonton's a really good location because it has a meteorology school. The year after that, we did it in Calgary. Had about, I think, 80 people attend in Calgary. Following that, we did it in Winnipeg. So we've been moving it around Canada, looking for different locations. Winnipeg, we had about 50 people attend there. And then in Calgary, so far we're at about, ticket sales are at about 45 so far, which is modest compared to some of the previous years for sure. But we are coming back from pandemic. So we got about 45 tickets sold so far. We've got, I think, another 3 weeks to go, Tracy.
And then with the panel members and everything, I think we're at like 47 people that will be there. and then we'll get the last kind of like people signing up last minute.
Tracey's been planning this for the last 4 or 5 months now.
I think I've been planning this for the last 2 years, Chris.
Fair enough.
Wow.
We started talking about this like 2 years ago.
And it'll be a pretty wild event. Given who's coming so far, I'm excited just for that.
Me too.
Right.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for you about ChaserCon. How many children born so far can be directly traced back to ChaserCon?
I think a lot of us are past the childbearing age that attends. So I don't know that a lot of children have been born as a result of ChaserCon.
big romances, long-lasting love found.
No, not.
I'm aware.
Make something up. It's a comedy show.
Michelle and Aaron, but that has nothing to do with ChaserCon. Maybe.
Woohoo!
Oh
But-
boy.
There you go, folks.
But yeah, no, I don't know that there's actually a lot of connections, romantic connections, anyways, that have happened through our groups.
So it's a little bit different than the music festivals I've
Yes.
mostly worked in my lifetime.
Yes.
Oh, come
A
on.
lot of children came from the Artswells Festival here in Wells.
Come on.
Including
storms
my
are
own.
Sexy.
Yeah,
They really are. This is the fun of chasing a storm. This is the fun of almost being hit by lightning. It's, yeah.
I don't know
then
that I
again,
would ever call that fun.
Fun.
Lightning is terrifying.
The last
It
time
is.
I got ding good, I thought it was pretty fun. Yeah.
You said the last time that implies there's been more than one.
You said let's
This
do it
explains
again.
a lot.
It kind of does.
I don't know. It's like, did the lightning make me left-handed and both my kids? Or was I destined to put myself into bad places because of my left-handedness? Tell me about your close calls. Let's hear close call stories.
Oh, on the lightning subject, actually, last season we were chasing out in Saskatchewan, and I'm pretty good at staying out of the core and staying out of the hail, but because I kind of stay in that general area, I'm also really into the lightning area and where the lightning strikes tend to typically like boom, 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 boom. So there have been so many times, and that one in particular, where like lightning was striking everywhere around me, and it was the most terrifying thing. Like, I can stay away from a tornado, but you can't predict where lightning's going to strike. So like when it's like hitting everywhere, you're literally like, I'm not a religious person, but I am holding on to my steering wheel, praying to a God that I maybe don't believe in, that I don't get hit by lightning. Like it's pretty terrifying at that point. So I think that would probably be like one of my like get your heart beating moments with chasing.
Well, and that's the one you can't predict, right? Because it just happens where it happens. I mean, you might have your hair stand on end for 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds beforehand.
Tracey's had that
up and
too.
down
Tracey's
as
had
it's
that
feeling
too.
around, trying to figure out which one of you it wants to kill the most.
Yeah, Chris has a story about that. What were we?
Well, my
that was last
story is
year?
about you, but
2 years ago?
2 years ago. 21. Yeah.
We were all hanging out on the side of an approach, and all of a sudden everybody runs away from me, and I am just standing in the middle of all of these metal vehicles, and everybody is now in their vehicle. And I look around, and Beth starts yelling at me that my hair is standing up on end, and and everybody just scattered. So then I duck down, try to get as far down to the ground as I possibly can. I'm 4'11", so like that's not hard. And
You're the tallest thing in the prairie, though.
But yeah, my hair was standing up and nobody else's was. There was plenty of taller people, but yeah, so I've had that happen. Didn't get struck by lightning though.
On the line, 20 minutes, call a couple of heli dumps, and then run away. Check it out, though. It's making its own pyrocumulus cloud above us, right? That was pretty scary. Boom! Crazy. That was like 5 bolts, eh?
Short commute to the fire.
There it is. Bam! That looks like a fire start over there. That's what that is. Boom! That's a fire start. That's why I wasn't too worried. Holy, that was nice. That hit the top of a cow somewhere. Here comes the thunder. Boom! There goes the dynamite.
Boom! There goes the dynamite.
Oh. Yeah. Fire whirl. Look at that. That is over the top.
She's going. She's cooking.
I think that's a forest fire.
Sure.
Could be. Could be true. Get in before you get struck by lightning.
What's going to happen?
Yes, I did.
God, look at the tree. Holy fuck.
I'm telling you, get in.
Oh, really?
Yes. Tree down back there.
What's that?
I didn't even see that when I was coming
Just
for
went
you.
down as I was talking to you.
Are you serious?
Yeah, just then.
Holy. Check that out. That tree's been there a long time and it didn't come down on the church. Like, wowzer. Holy. Boom. Holy. Whoa. Bizarre behavior. And it is mad. Holy. That is freaking close. Oh my god. Fire start. Hopefully this rain puts it down. That is not good.
I really wish that we got bigger storms around here. Like, it's so rare that it happens. I mean, we just don't, which is weird. I mean, I'm on the southern tip of an island on the farthest part of the coast. It's apparently everywhere else gets storms along here, but we just have this little pocket of sanctuary where it's extremely rare. Like, we get one lightning storm a year. That's exciting and exotic.
I hate it.
Although, to be fair, I was swimming in a lake one time when a lightning storm happened, and we were watching the lightning get closer, and it was summer, so the lake was really busy. There's lots of people there, and just watching people gradually get out, and we're all kind of playing chicken almost with, like, who's going to be the last to get out? Are we going to get cooked in the lake? And, you know, and at some point, I'm like, me and my buddy are we're like, all right, we'll go to the edge of the lake, but we're not getting out yet. And then eventually it's getting really close. We're like, okay, now we're either going to keep doing this and win a Darwin Award, or we're just going to, you know, so we did get out before it got too close, and we did leave before it was too late. And we did hear that lightning hit the lake later that day. Like, it was a weird storm that lasted long, and it was intermittent lightning, and we're all in the water. We're like, all right.
If you can hear the thunder,
yeah, we're like, is it going to hit us?
you are at big risk.
Weirdly, we're like ducking in the lake, like, is it going to hit us? It made no sense. It was the most irrational, like, all of us were suddenly, our inner 8-year-old came out. We're like ducking from things that you don't duck from. But at the same time, we're like, no, you get out. No,
the nature of lightning is it can hit in one spot and 40 cattle can be killed, right? So it's not like, you know, and that's my experience. I felt it before I saw it. You know, I didn't get pummeled in the head, right? But nonetheless, when it's anywhere near you, you're at risk. And if you can hear it, you're at risk. So
yeah,
that's some near misses. Chris, Tracy, favorite moments.
Oh, I think my favorite moment still to this day will be when I think it was back in 2019. There was supposed to be storms. It was, I think, late June, and there were supposed to be storms throughout the day, and there were a few that I ditched out on work to go and chase. but then they just like, they fizzled out. And so then I would go back to my office and go work for a couple hours. And then I would go back out the next cell that I saw and go and see if anything would happen, go back west and get a good look. And then it would fizzle out and I'd come back. And I think it was on my like 4th time where I was like, okay, you know what, last time I'm going to go and look. And there was just this giant supercell over Water Valley. And it was just where I was just the perfect location. And I just sat there for half an hour time-lapsing this thing, just spinning and spinning and spinning. It was the most glorious moment. Like that to me is why I chase, is just like that, sit back, you know, and just let this thing come towards you and just watch all of this, like this glorious scenery that it doesn't get much better than that. So, I mean, I've seen tornadoes, I've shot lightning, I've done a lot of stuff, and that probably still is one of my most favorite moments with chasing.
Well, and often it's like the last memory is often the one that you kind of call on the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you know, for me, it was our fire creating a thunderstorm and watching it, and a very angry one. That was a great one. What about you? Yeah. What about? Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I think my favorite moment, same place as Tracey, around the Dog Pound, Water Valley area in Alberta, just northwest of Calgary, pretty much my backyard, Tracey's backyard. We get some amazing storms that run through there. But for me, it was an afternoon in 2019. My favorite moment was an entire afternoon where we had, I think it was there were 3 definite supercells that ran through the exact same path, from basically Water Valley to Airdrie is the path that they took, about 100, 150 kilometer stretch. And you'd follow one, get to Airdrie, turn around, head back to Water Valley, follow the next one, turn around, head back to Water Valley, follow the third one. It just keep on doing this loop. It was the perfect afternoon. And then after it was all done, because I was pretty much at home, you know, we'd go for drinks afterwards and have a nice evening talking about these storms that were your perfect supercells. They were low precipitation, which means we could see a lot of the meso. You see this perfect structure going straight up and back to back to back. Great afternoon.
You know, that's so cool in the Rockies too, when it's just like, you know, first it forms and finally gets big enough and angry enough, it lets go and off it runs. And then if it's early enough in the day, the next one starts. Okay. We got a couple questions from the gallery. Earlier, Shelley Selinsky was asking what makes the different colors in the lights. Some conspiracy people on Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers there. I'll paraphrase in kind of their voice, more or less. It's the government making the colors in the Northern Lights these days. It's the HARP project. They's making the colors. There was never the colors before. And, you know, we know that's not true. And that's not Shelley Selinsky's question. She's just asking what makes the different colors in the lights. But that's my little salt and pepper on it.
So what makes the colors? It's altitude is really what it comes down to, is the different altitudes that the elements involved in Aurora are getting lit up at. So your lower altitudes, you've got pinks, then greens, purples, and reds at the top end.
And so climate change is not affecting the Aurora, and it's not HARP, and it's not and it's always happened. And especially when you get into periods where there's more activity, there sometimes has been years where you see the lights at night, but you don't see that good of a show.
No, I mean, you need a really strong show to see the colors. Green is obviously the most common. Green occupies the most amount of area for the Aurora to light up. So with a weak show, you'll see green quite a lot. When you're up north, like, you know, Alaska, Yellowknife, and because they get Aurora all the time with weak Aurora, so you'll see green up there quite commonly. It's when the Aurora gets much stronger and it gets higher in altitude, that's when you'll see the purples and the reds.
So Tracey, do you know who Kyle Hetherington is?
Oh no.
See, they have a question.
Oh no, don't read it. Don't read it. Don't do it.
If that's what you want. But
I'm gonna read it.
It does cause me to think that maybe there is more to my question about romantic con chasing.
What did he say? I'm curious now.
You want to know? Okay. I have a question for Tracey. I think that you are quite swell, and I think that we should get married. That's not a question, however. Kyle.
What kind of is?
That's not a question, Kyle.
I thought it was going to be way worse than that. That's pretty calm. I'm okay with that.
Well, a little further down, he says, in capital letters, but no question marks. I'm not sure if that's a question either. What about us?
Northern Lights takes place up in Northwest Territories, and none of that happens in Cape Breton Island. They get Northern Lights in Churchill, Manitoba, Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, Whitehorse, Yukon, Callowit, Kilkatuck, Daldo Heaven, Greece, Jordan, Alert, and all these places. And up above the Arctic Circle, they get a lot of Northern Lights, South Northern Quebec, and Northern Saskatchewan, and Northern Alberta, including Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, Hay River, and Dawson Creek, Fort St. John, Fort Nelson, Watson Lake, Beaver Creek, Whitehorse, Dawson, Yukon, and all those places, Inuvik, Katuyatuk, Fort McPherson, and all these places up in Northwest Territories and Northern Yukon as well, including Anchorage, Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska, Juneau, Alaska, and all these places. They're getting Northern Lights up there, including Fairbanks, Alaska, up in Northern Cape, Alaska, and places like this, and Greenland, Denmark, like New Greenland up in Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden. They get Northern Lights there.
We even get them here in the Northern Caribou Mountains. Although not the show that just on the other side of the mountains. So we got the Caribous, and then you get the valley down to Robson, and you just go over the mountains there, and you're in Alberta, and they just seem to get all the luck. How come we don't get the luck?
They even got Northern Lights up in South of Broward, Norway. That's where Top Sea Fault up in South of Broward, Norway. That's where Global Top Sea Fault is located in one of the islands in the Arctic Ocean in Norway.
I mean, we do see them frequently, but how come we don't get the luck here, Chris?
That's just your bad luck. I mean, I guess you get lightning, so.
And I mean, people south of us in BC, they almost see nothing, quite frequently. So at least
that's somewhat due to the curve of the Aurora around the North Pole. It curves north as it comes over Alberta. So southern BC, not in a good place at all.
No. Anywhere up here around Quesnel, Prince George.
When Aurora happens, and like Northern Lights, they get them in Labrador City, Wabash, and Goose Bay, Maine, Newfoundland, Labrador, all of the Labrador region, Newfoundland, like Goose Bay, Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and those places, they get Northern Lights. So it's Chicoutimi, Quebec.
Now, what are the chances that the Northern Lights end civilization as we know it?
And Northern Lights is long before the time of humans, long before the time of the dinosaurs too.
Yeah, but what's the chance that the Northern Lights wipes out civilization as we know it? As we know it.
That's very much chance, wiping out civilization.
Like if the Carrington event happened?
It's just like a 1909 Turkish event somewhere in Siberia. Caused a lot of forest fires and everything because the meteor fell in Siberia in 1909. When the meteor broke up from the sky to hit Siberia, it burnt a lot of trees down in 1909.
Yeah, it did that. Hey, Chris, what do you think about, are you stoked for the chance for a Carrington event to happen so that it's like the ultimate Northern Lights spectacle? But the price is we might lose all, radio, electric communications. And
it'd be great to watch, but then I wouldn't be able to process my photos afterward.
That's a good point, eh? It would just wipe the slate.
It would wipe the slate. You have to get an analog camera.
And what's wrong with that? You can't go wrong with film.
Hard to find now. It's pretty hard to find film and analog these days.
Yeah, they're in the drawer with the 8 tracks.
In the refrigerator.
Buried within arm's reach around me, I have an 8-track. I've got a whole pile of cassette tapes right I'm not going to move the camera around to show this off, but yeah, there's literally a record player like right beside me. I appreciate old school.
8-track cassette you've got too?
Yeah.
That haven't been eaten up by the 8-track player?
Yeah, there's the stereo sound that's right next to me has an 8-track player in it. It works. I've played 8 tracks on it like about 2 months ago, and it has the record player in it sucks out loud, like it needs maintenance, but the 8-track player still works. And the stereo in my living room is straight from the 80s, cassettes, record. Yeah, the CD player on it sucks, but it.
Well, as we digitize more and more information, knowledge, and our progression of our civilization, an event like this could wipe the slate. It could really set us back into it. Is that a fair thing to think? That some distant point of the future, they're not keeping things on hard file, on paper. And
to be fair, I'm going to go really old school here, and
well, you don't have to.
No. See, this is a gramophone record. I have a gramophone player in my other room that was built in 1914, and the audio on it, the volume is controlled by moving the little cabinet doors. This does not play very well on a standard record player, and it's got a counterweight on it. So if you put a regular record on the gramophone, it'll scratch because the needle is way too heavy. It's straight up steel. So yeah, this is
okay, well, there you go. Yeah,
Richard Crook's The Sweet Mystery of Life gramophone record. I got like a whole book of gramophone records. Yeah, whole book of gramophone records, and there's like 40 more in the other room.
I've only got a gramophone around here, but we are at that point of the show where we got to start cutting her down real quick. And thanks very much, Chris Ratzlaff, for coming in. Thanks very much, Tracey Dyck, for coming on the show. Please come back anytime you'd like. You're always welcome. And we want to know how ChaserCon goes, and get us footage, Brandon, of course, so that we can put it on the show and report to the world around. Frankie, how does everyone find you on the world of the internet?
My Twitter is @FrankieMacD. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is FrankieMacD984. My TikTok is FrankDown984. My Clapper is FrankDown984. My Twitch is FrankDown984. My YouTube channel is Dr. Ropes. My LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. And my Snapchat is Frankie MacDon. Best luck, yeah. I'm Frankie Down. You're listening to the Joey Only Show every Thursday night. You guys will see me on Base Sky Show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys will see me on Base Sky Show tomorrow at 4 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.
And that's the show. I'm Joe. And for the week of March 16th, 2023, your show about how much the weather sucks in Canada. Great show, I thought. And we were wonderful. Good job, Brandon Howe. Good job, Frankie MacDonald. Good job, Imogen. And thanks, Chris and Tracey Dyck, for coming on. Any last words to say before I hit the off?
Thank you for having us.
Agreed. It's been a great time.
Aw, thanks.
Okay, guys. I'm going to do a video about the guy eating 50 hot dogs at once. I want you to eat 50 hot dogs at once! My stomach is upset. I can't get up anymore.